And my husband has always said to me, never fall in love with a job. You can like your job, but never fall in love with your job, because more times than not, it's going to break your heart. So don't, and I never really put a whole lot of stock into it until not that I, was this, I've loved my work but I can't necessarily say that I loved my job. And I think that's two different things. But it really hit home, obviously, this past week a little bit more. And I was like, now I know why he said it, because I think that's interesting,
Yeah.
What are your thoughts for employees who feel stuck in their job and may be considering a new opportunity? What would be words of wisdom around that?
Even if you're not stuck in your job, you need to constantly, this is my advice for everyone, whether you're still in college and trying to figure out what you want to be when you grow up, or whether you're much older than that, trying to figure out what you want to be when you grow up. And that is constantly be doing these informational interviews, I call them. Yeah. And I come up with, I'll put 3 or 4 questions in my back pocket that I just kind of take with me anywhere. And Brandy, this also goes back, you asked the question, how did Jeff DeVerter become Jeff DeVerter? Which is weird that somebody would ask me that question, but I oftentimes would get complimented because I run my own podcast and I'm good on stage and these sorts of things. And people ask, well, how did you get good at doing that? I did this weekly live stream that I could, do without a whole lot of thought. I gave it a lot of thought, but what it goes back to, and this has really been something that has been sort of transformational for me. And I was in high school. I was very shy. Didn't like to open my mouth.
Really?
Yeah. And the reason was because I was very self-conscious and I was afraid about saying something stupid and people laughing at me. That was really what it came back to. Mm-hmm. And I was in 10th grade. My best friend, Rob Vanderbeck, and I were standing there before school with a group of people, and he was more sporty than I was, so we're hanging out with cool kids. And I don't remember what he said, but he said something, and everyone laughed at him. And I just leaned back like this. I crossed my arms, and I said, "See, that's why we're quiet. That's why we don't say anything." And then I realized we go off to lunch. The morning goes on, and we're all back together at lunch, and he's right back in the thick of it with everybody. And I thought, nobody remembered. Nobody cared. It didn't make any difference. And I thought to myself, well, all right, here we go. I'm going to start opening my mouth. But then as a bit of a defensive mechanism, I thought I'm going to be the person who asks the questions, because then you can get somebody else to start talking. If somebody else is talking, I don't have to talk. And then the light doesn't shine on me. I can shine it on someone else. So that really became a whole lifelong thing of when I get in a group, especially with people I don't know, is how do I start to talk to them? But I use that as an opportunity. It's a strange way to answer your question, but as an opportunity to then, as I meet people, to understand about them and their jobs and what they do. Now you can do this inside your organization. You can do it outside your organization.
That's right.
I'll say it's much easier because, these are people who already know you. You're in the global address list and all these things. You're going to be in meetings with people you don't know. Again, I said it before, hey, I'd love to learn. You've obviously accomplished a lot of great things here, Miss or Mrs. or Mr. And, do you have time in the next, month that you could spend? And I'd love to learn more about you. Right. And that's what it is. It's not the offer is not, I need something and can we get together? No, it's, can I learn more about you? And the more you learn about somebody else's journey, the more you learn about the other journeys that are the side quests you could jump on at some point. So it's easy to feel like you're stuck in it, but the remedy to that is to constantly be doing what I call these little mini informational interviews and understanding what's available throughout your organization or in other organizations. You're at a kid's t-ball game, you're at whatever it might be, and you're going to be there with other adults. Strike up a conversation, learn about it.
Talking about the music thing, I see the guitars in the background. Do you feel like that musical journey was helpful in getting you to a place where you were not to improve your woo, right? Like, did you feel like it helped you feel more brave, more a little bit, sure of yourself? What was that like?
I would say yes. First of all, everything is a performance. especially when you're at work. At home, everybody knows who you are, so there's no performing there. But at work, everything is still a performance. When you think about it, say you're going to give a presentation. I mean, if you're standing in front of a room presenting to content that's being displayed behind you, there's no difference whether you're sitting there with a guitar and a microphone, singing a song in an open mic. The same capabilities are going to draw people in. Unfortunately, not a lot of folks realize the need for the ability to say perform makes it sound fake, but you're performing. You have to deliver content in a way that is engaging. Really what it comes down to, Brandy, is you just have to learn how to be comfortable being vulnerable with yourself in front of people, and willing, in my opinion, to fail. And I don't mean fail like, oh, you're never going to work again, but fail meaning it didn't deliver the way I thought it was. That joke didn't land. The point didn't, people didn't get the point I was trying to make, the thing. But I think that you think about how did I become me in front of people? And that's because I'm not afraid at this point to stand up and laugh at myself. And I'll oftentimes do something a little self-deprecating in the beginning of something, just because it lowers the expectations of people. They realize I don't care if they laugh at me a little bit, because I'm going to laugh at me a little bit.
100%.
Because people crave that level of authenticity. And I think if I were to go back to the music side, one, you got to be really prepared before you get on stage, and a lot of people aren't prepared before they present. And that means hours, days, months, years learning your craft to do the thing. I've mentored a ton of people at Rackspace on how to be better presenters and better in groups and that sort of stuff. And it all comes back to, and they hate it, it's like, record yourself and watch it. It's going to be the worst experience of your life. But you're going to learn the ticks that you watch other people do, that you're going to do your own thing. So being a musician brings discipline, because you can't be a musician without being dedicated to sitting in a room for years of your life by yourself, running scales and all the other things. So I think that brings a lot to it. And so really it comes down to I think it brings discipline, it brings dedication, and then the ability to present that information well to people.